Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Dino with Liese from Sumo Digital, who worked on Snake Pass, here at the Party Chat podcast.
Xbox on.
Game on, baby! Wow!
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit. I am this week's host, making my triumphant return after taking a week off. I'm Ross Miller, and I'm joined by our Lord and savoury snack, delicious cheese.
Good evening, my son.
That's just freaky.
I know, right? How you doing, Ross?
Yeah, I am well. Unfortunately, Uncle Jesse is away on a business trip, so he isn't able to join us. But we have some exciting guests for you a little bit later on. We have Sumo Digital will be dropping in to talk about their new game, Snake Pass.
Yay!
Rhys, there isn't going to be too many snake puns from me this week, I don't think.
Good, because
it's not like I am bread.
I'll never forgive you for the bread puns, especially after we discussed that before recording.
I don't know if I can do an interview without puns somewhere.
It's okay.
But, right, we usually get started with what we've been playing this week. So we will start with you, Rhys. What have you been playing?
So, this week I have been playing mostly City Skylines.
And are you enjoying it?
A lot, yes. It's for anyone who doesn't know, it's the new, well, it's not new, it's actually a couple of years old now, I think, or at least 1 year old maybe. But it's just released on Xbox, and it is a city building simulator, where you build cities, I guess. I am creating a glorious corporate dystopia, called Corporatopolis, where I am maximizing profits and oppressing the consumer, and it's great. There's pollution everywhere, and there's skyscrapers, and I'm making so much money. It's fantastic.
So it's like the anti-Finland.
Yeah, I basically made like Neo Tokyo or futuristic Hong Kong or something like that. It's actually a really fun game. For anyone who's not really into city sims, it's definitely gonna be like way beyond you. I don't want to talk down to anybody, but it's like, it pulls no punches. It's like, for example, it's really complex. Like, you have to, not only do you have to like lay road, for example, but you also have to lay, water pipes. And, you know, when you make public transport, like metro, trains, taxis, buses, you actually have to manually plot the route and dig the metro tunnels, and so it's really complex. But if you're into that sort of thing, it's super rewarding. It's so much better than the new Sim City. Oh my god! And yeah, it's really fun. Although I learned a very interesting life lesson. I was dumping sewage into the river, which was flowing out into the sea, you know, because, you know, corporate apocalypse, of course, I'm polluting like mad. And then I realized later on I unlocked the ability to have hydroelectric dams. And I thought, there's a good spot for a dam just down here. So I dammed downstream from my sewage pipes without realizing that this game actually simulates water flow. So when I dam the water, of course, the water level rose upstream from the dam, and I literally flooded my entire town with their own crap. Yeah.
Okay.
So, lesson learned.
Yeah, I think your lesson has been learned.
But yeah, other than that, I finished Breath of the Wild. I beat Ganon.
No one cares.
I kicked his ass. Everyone should care. And I also played very briefly the Gianna Sisters, the new Games with Gold. Have you played that yet?
I haven't had a chance to play it. Just a quick question about City Skylines. Are you building straight roads or curved roads?
well, it's a corporate apocalypse. So of course I'm building like curved, windy roads that like 3 or 4 layers high, and they wind over each other and stuff like that.
Well, if you notice, Americans are all building grid systems.
Grid systems. Well, I suppose that makes sense, because you look at American cities and they're basically just grids.
And we're, like us Europeans, are building windy roads and things like that.
Really?
Now, I have played the game, okay?
Oh.
But I played it on PC. I played it on Steam.
Okay.
Last year. How does it play with a controller? Because that felt to me like something I needed the precision of a mouse for.
So, for the most part, plays well. They've taken a few liberties. For example, when you build a road, for anyone who doesn't know, after you build the road, basically you decide, like, you can't build housing or anything like that, but you can decide what zoning it is. For example, you can say houses can go here, or industry can go here, or shopping can go here. You know this, Ross, if you've played the game. And what you do on the PC is, you just paint over it, like you got MS Paint or whatever. And on the controller, they've streamlined it so you can paint if you want, but you can also have it it'll like, basically it's like a fill, and you just click once and it automatically fills in a chunk. So and you can click, like it clicks and snaps between objects, or you can have it move freeform. But for the most part, it works okay. But there are a few times when you have like thousands of buildings that you really wish you had a little tiny bit more control, and the menus can be a little bit complicated without a keyboard. But if you're going to play a game like this on a console, it's basically the best you can hope for. The only problem is performance. For the most part, it runs really well. But if you zoom in to street level, it really, really chugs. And when your city grows beyond 4 tiles, it's like really bad, and it crashes all the time. Save very often if you play this game.
That's not great.
But it looks
I'm
good.
sure that will be patched out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not game breaking, just that if you don't have autosave turned on, and you play for see, the thing with these games is, you start playing and then suddenly it's 5 hours later. The passage of time is completely irrelevant. So yeah, make sure you autosave and you'll be fine.
Well, this week for myself, I have been playing or watching and turning away from the screen Outlast 2.
Oh, I'm so excited to play this game.
I'm only 2 hours in. I streamed it so people could see my reactions.
Did you have the camera?
So, yeah, the camera on me, camera on my face. It's scary. Like, I get anxious at the best of times with games. It took me about 3 months to finish Alien Isolation.
That game is terrifying.
Outlast 2 takes it to a new level. I don't like, my wife says this, I don't like getting chased. And you get...
That's basically all you do in that game.
Yeah. Really, it's fantastic looking. Absolutely fantastic looking. It just creates that tense, horrible atmosphere that you don't know what's round the corner.
That's great.
And for the 2 hours that I've played of it, I can't fault it so far. Like, I can't say I've enjoyed it because I've been that stressed out.
It's masochism.
But yeah, but you can tell the fun that I'm going to have with it. I think once you get into a few hours into these games, the scares don't hit you as hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's when, a good horror story, it knows that the scares will sort of taper off as you become sort of desensitized to them. So that's when it starts building the story. Like Dead Space or Amnesia or Soma or any of these, even Alien Isolation, the story starts to kick in roughly when the scares start to taper off.
So another thing, just talking about being scared, is I checked out the Prey 2. Well, not Prey 2, it's just Prey, isn't it? Sorry. Prey, our demo.
How's that?
It's fantastic.
I'm not going anywhere near it.
Phenomenal.
I've pre-ordered the game. I'm super excited to play it.
Well, see, I was opposite. I wasn't bothered about playing it. I wasn't watching videos just because I wasn't that interested. And then I played it and I went, I'm buying this game. What a genius idea to release that hour teaser, to let people see what it's all about. The mimics are actually terrifying. you're sitting there looking at ashtrays and bins and things like that and going,
It's
oh my
like
God, is that an enemy?
paranoia
Should I shoot it with my
simulator.
goo gun? Yeah, it's a paranoia simulator. That's a better name for it. But yeah, it's just fun.
As soon as I
to be
saw
honest,
the
like,
original Bethesda like reveal of the game at E3, I was sold like that, because I love those games that like screw with your brain and like really confuse you and really twisted. You know, I love that stuff. So I ate that for breakfast, and now that I've seen that it's actually good, yeah, I pre-ordered it, and I'm like, yeah, bring it on. But
so it's been a good week. You've been playing new games.
Yeah. Well,
it's because Uncle Jesse isn't here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he's not actually at work. He's at home playing Rainbow Six Siege. No, that's a lie. He would have gotten his copy of Mario Kart 8.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we'll find out what's happening in the subreddit.
we probably should, yeah.
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast. This week in the subreddit.
So, this week on the subreddit, the first story, I haven't actually got the username for this person, but it's been announced this week out of absolute nowhere that Forza Horizon, is getting some Hot Wheels DLC. And Rhys, it looks fantastic.
Oh, it looks amazing. They have, well, basically this has been like the number one sort of request. I don't want to say request, because people haven't really asked for it, but whenever people have been talking about Forza Horizon, people have always said, oh, it'd be so amazing if Turn 10 made a kart racing game. Like, it's always been a part of the discussion, but never at the forefront. And now they've actually just gone ahead and said, okay, we'll make Mario Kart. And that's what they've done. It looks amazing. There's loop-de-loops and corkscrews and, it looks great.
You mentioned that earlier, so Mario Kart 8's out, okay?
Again.
Forza Horizon are dropping Hot Wheels. You've got, GTA's got its Tiny Racers mod?
Yeah, that's right.
And then Codemasters are bringing out Micro Machines.
Oh, yeah.
This is a year for toy racers.
It's great. I love kart races. I'm so glad that they're making a comeback. Nintendo's got to be laughing right now. They released Mario Kart 8 years ago. It sold 8 million copies. They released it again with all of its DLC this week, and it's the fastest selling Mario Kart game in history just because it's on a newer console. That's like free money.
Yeah.
I know you're not excited, but
yeah.
Clay made me promise I'd talk a little bit about Mario Kart.
I'll tell you what, I will buy a Switch if Rocket League comes to Switch.
That's good, because I mean, why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's perfect for Rocket League. Imagine the 4 people with their own Switches playing Rocket League. That would be great. But I actually just, while I was talking now, I went back and found the user because I forgot to write them down. It's user, oh God, why have you done this to me? Tagikuch. T-A-G.
What did you call me?
It's T-A-G-Q-C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing the video.
Yeah, he won the Karma lottery.
Yeah, no one was expecting that.
No.
Like, it's a totally unexpected announcement. It's a welcome one. And let's face it, it's another good reason to turn on your Xbox.
Yeah.
Not as if you don't have enough anyway.
I'm going to re-download Forza Horizon 3, like this instant, basically, and buy it, because it looks awesome.
What else has been happening this week?
That is a great question. Let me minimize the tab that I brought up here to find that guy's username. Yes! From Xbox itself, Mike Ibarra. What is his job now? He's like a VP of product.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got promoted not long ago. So congratulations, Mike. Mike has been posting and lurking on our subreddit ever since day one. In fact, he was a regular in our IRC chat when that was a thing. Now we have Discord. But anyway, so Mike Ibarra posted on the sub just randomly, didn't say anything to us mods or anything, just made a post saying, if you could add or change any one feature to Xbox One, what would it be? And we saw that, and we stuck it to the top of the subreddit for a whole week. You got thousands and thousands of posts. Ross, that's your name. I assume that you had a look.
Yes, I did.
Any thoughts? Yes, I did.
So you didn't ask what I thought.
No.
It was all the same stuff. Don't let people vote before they buy, and add a cart, and all the things that you regularly see in user voice.
A lot of things related to the store, I noticed.
Yeah, there was a lot to do with the store. For me, from what I said, I do agree with the cart option, especially during sales, that you can add multiple things on. It could maybe then offer a multi-buy discount. If you buy these 3 games together, you then get a discount off of them when they're in your cart and things like that.
And you could have bundles
that was
too.
A great idea. Yep, you do have game bundles at the moment.
Oh, wait, yeah, we have had a couple of game bundles
we have
before.
Had that, yeah. But I just mean let's say Resident Evil games, I know there's a bundle, but buy 2, get 1 free. If you're buying 2 of the Resident Evil games, you get a third one free if you add it to your cart.
That'd be fun.
That was the one that I thought was like really, really cool and would maybe incentivize people. Should I buy a second game? Well, if I do that, I'll get a third game free, and, it might entice people to buy some. So, yeah, plus it's also practical to have a cart in your store as well.
Does the PS4 have a cart?
Yes, it does.
Oh, well, then there's definitely no excuse. I think we should have a cart. The Switch doesn't have a cart.
What did you...
Sorry, I just brought that back up to mess with you. I just want to mess with
podcast.
You. Yeah, I know. Hey, I played Xbox. I sat at home. It was actually a public holiday in Finland on the weekend. I sat at home. I didn't even go outside at all on Saturday. I spent the entire day inside playing Cities Skylines. I haven't done that since I was in my early 20s.
And you do look about 10 years older.
Yeah.
But what was the one feature you noticed that...
Well, just like I said, there was the most highly upvoted one, I think, was for wish lists. I can't remember. But there was people asking for wish lists, which I quite agree with. And game gifting, I think, would be really fun.
Yeah.
Basically, a lot of the ideas that you have on Steam, I think, are just fantastic. And I would really like to see them everywhere because they make so much sense.
I suppose the one thing to consider is because of the universal platform, if they bring it for Xbox, it would have to be on the Windows Store as well.
Yeah.
So I suppose, we're always thinking about the Xbox Store, and that's what he asked for, was the Xbox, but I suppose making changes to the store has a wider impact.
It's almost like running a multi-billion-dollar company is a little bit trickier than we might imagine. But yeah, no.
Making changes to the core way you buy things is difficult. What else has been happening this week?
Let's have a look here. Right. So last week, Clayton and I spoke about the fact that the custom gamer pictures had been rolled out to everybody, and Larry chimed in on the subreddit and said, that's Major Nelson, by the way, and said, hey guys, be careful with copyrighted images and pictures of dicks. And people asked exactly what are Microsoft's hardline stances about this. And he said, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. And he has. So, of course, I will mention this briefly now as promised. Your picture will be removed if it is an image intended to harm or harass another person, images that depict nudity or are sexual in nature, references to illegal drugs, depictions of real-life violence or excessive violence, or images containing personal information, references to hate groups, terrorist organizations, or notorious figures, inflammatory images directed towards specific demographic groups. And that's it.
Okay. Thanks for getting that off. I couldn't understand a word of it, but I can read it in front of me. So go to the subreddit if you want to find out.
The takeaway is basically use your brain. They're only going to delete stuff that's obviously inappropriate. So please don't make a thread about it when they remove your picture.
And for those that messaged me on Twitter, yes, the episode was meant to be called Custom Gamer Pricks last week.
We got PMs. In Hotmail.
I thought it was a little nice play on words because Clay messed up. Let's move on. You've been waiting for it, guys, as I know. Earlier on tonight, we interviewed Sumo Digital, and here is the interview.
Xbox Snap This Week's Interview.
All right, everybody, welcome back to today's interview. As promised, we have two guests with us this evening. We have David Dino and Seb Liese from Sumo Digital. Hi, guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Hi.
Hey.
So, yeah, and Ross, too. There's a Ross here somewhere.
Supposedly I'm here somewhere, hiding in the cupboard.
And Clay couldn't join us for the interview as well because, that's Clayton is just, being Clayton, I guess. And yeah, so, boys, you are the star of the show. So how about you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you guys do at Sumo Digital?
Well, yeah, I'm Seb Liese. I'm a designer at Sumo Digital and the creator of Snake Pass.
Cool. And I'm David Dino. I am a designer and PR analyst over there at at Sumo Digital as well. Also
At Snake Pass?
Yeah, at Snake Pass too. Snake Pass is actually a real place as well.
We're going to have to talk more about this in depth, I think, later on.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. we'll get to that point then.
Now, Sumo Digital have a pretty interesting history with some employees from some amazing studios there. Now, you've made a huge variety of things, from your own games to sequels to ports, everything. What's it like working for such a studio? I can only imagine it's quite different from a typical indie studio.
It's really crazy considering, I think for both of us, it was actually our first professional job in the gaming industry as well. When I first came in, we were currently working or finishing up. Oh no, they were almost done with Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Oh, love that game.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. We're still playing it every once in a while. What else was happening? They were working on Xbox Fitness, also Little Big Planet, and a bunch of other things as well. And just, for the first time you walk in and take a look at the different parts of the company, you're like, what? Why are we making all these things at the same time? But companies trust what we can do. We're always considered a safe pair of hands to work with other people's IPs and produce, I guess, products that people thankfully really enjoy. So, yeah, it's really awesome to see such a diverse, I guess, collection of titles that we've created on top of the people where they've come from and what they're doing now to be able to create things as crazy as the Forza Horizon stuff, to Sonic All-Stars Racing, and then obviously now to Snake Pass as well. So at least that's my perspective anyway. I mean, maybe Seb has a different one or maybe something similar.
Well, I was just thinking back at the first few months at Sumo, and I actually remember, because the whole Sumo is separated in a few buildings, and I remember in my second month or something realizing, oh wow, that whole building next to us also belongs to Sumo. It's also got a giant team inside working on awesome games. So yeah, it's a pretty big company, split out over a few buildings.
And not only that, there's also the Nottingham studio now. And then we also have a studio in India that's been going on for 10 years too, so.
In India?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a lot of nice support stuff, art, code, the whole nine. They have handled over there. It's amazing.
What other games would people know Sumo Digital for? Just for the listeners that might not know exactly who you are.
So, a lot of people do enjoy the Sonic All-Stars Racing stuff.
Woo!
A big one that people really catch up on us, because we did a lot of Sega games as well, was the Outrun 2 port.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we brought on from the Xbox Live Arcade.
Yep.
Ages ago, and also the the physical copy as well.
Little Big Planet 3.
Little Big Planet 3. We worked on the Disney Infinity Speedway stuff, the most recent one.
Wow.
Obviously people know that we're working on Crackdown 3 now as well. Loads of other different titles, but most of the time when people do come up to us, they talk about a lot of our racing games and a lot of the racing game pedigree that we do have. So, and obviously that has led us to work on the Forza Horizon series as well. Number 2, the Fast and Furious stuff, a little bit of 3 as well. So, yeah, I would say that's where majority of the known stuff does come from Sumo Digital anyway.
Heavyweights is what you would say. Heavyweight games.
Yeah. That's how you might have heard of, but you might not know that we actually.
It's okay. You can toot your own horn a little bit. So, now that we've heard about, everything Sumo does, let's talk about you guys, and more specifically your latest game that you just released that you guys are both involved in, and that's, of course, Snake Pass. You guys released this at the same time pretty much for everything. It's a snake simulator. How on earth did you come up with this idea? I need to hear the story of how this game happened.
Yeah, I think Seb can actually lead this one considering he is the creator of Snake Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sumo, traditionally, like you said, we work on big games for other studios, and we do work for hire and stay in the background while doing that. But for the longest time within Sumo, there was this urge to try to make our own IP. And in 2015, end of 2015, finally they decided to do an internal game jam. For one day, everybody in the studio was allowed to work on something that might lead to a game we could make. And during that period, I was just between Little Big Planet and getting ready to move to an Unreal project. But I'd never worked with Unreal before, so I got some time from Sumo to learn the engine. And while I was experimenting with the engine, I decided to try to make a physical rope, so a rope that would swing when the player walks into it. And as I was creating this rope, at some point I pressed the play button and I forgot to attach it to the ceiling. And when I saw it fall on the floor in this really nice smooth shape colliding with itself, I thought, wow, I've never seen anything like that. I think maybe I could make a game out of that if I can control this rope as a character. So that was the very first step, was trying to make a controllable rope. And when I saw that rope sliding and slithering over the floor, I immediately thought back to my uni days when I had 2 pet snakes. And I thought, wow, that looks just like a snake. I wonder if I can make it work like a snake. So I added a ton of logic on top and code to make it behave like a mussel. And that's the very first prototype. That was actually also called Snake Simulator, like you just said. And
very nearly called Rope Pass.
Yeah, indeed. So this was all during the time of the game jam, and I had this idea lying around at home. I brought it into work to show to one colleague, and he was amazed by the potential, and he said, dude, you should submit it in the game jam, and you might actually win. So I did, and I ended up winning, and that was the beginning, actually. That was when we decided to try to make a full game out of this prototype, the Snake Simulator, and that has turned into a Snake Pass over 14 months of hard work.
Only 14, that's fast.
Yeah, it had a very fast turnaround time. Initially, the plan was to only give us 3 months and a very small team, 3 or 4 or 5 guys, something like that. And try to make something we could quickly put out on Steam as just like a promotional thing, like we're working on our own ideas as well. But when we showed after a couple of months to the bosses what we were planning to put on Steam, they were so amazed by the potential and the amount of work we managed to do that they were like, no, it's too good now. Then we're going to put it out in full production.
That sounds really cool, guys. Actually, that's
yeah, it's like a pretty crazy story.
Yeah.
So Seb, how proud are you? Is this snake your baby?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
quite literally.
Wait, what?
Chris, did you watch a lot of Indiana Jones when you were young? Play a lot of mobile games like Snake, or?
I did both, but like I said, I actually have a biology master. So during university, I'd had 2 pet snakes. So I spent many hours sitting on the couch with my snakes. They're called Solid and Liquid, by the way. Scrolling through my hands and sensing their muscles. And so that made it so I knew quite well how a snake uses muscle. And that allowed me to create Noodle in such a way that he acts like a real snake.
See, I think that's absolutely amazing, because I think when the AMA was on the subreddit last week and people were talking about the snake physics and controls, that exactly explains why you have the knowledge. It's quite a rare circumstance that a developer, someone who's came up with this idea, has got that knowledge to really build the snake from there. That, this game wouldn't have happened without you being there at that precise time. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah,
it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it?
Yeah. And as Ross mentioned, James McGretton popped in to do an AMA for us on the subreddit. So if you're listening to this, James, thanks a bunch. And I actually asked him there about the snake physics and the controls. And, you guys were just talking about it. I really want to bring it up again. Just what did you go through to get controlling the snake to feel just right, to feel fun, not like quap with reptiles, but actually, be fun and not frustrating?
That's very much a matter of hundreds of hours of tweaking. Like when I was creating the snake early on, and when I won the game jam, I really had this drive to make it as good and as nicely playable as possible. So I spent long nights, sometimes to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, just tweaking and playing, change one value, play it again, change another value, play it again, and just hours and hours and days of that, just to get that feeling of, now it feels like a snake, and now it's, because there was constantly this border between super realistic simulation type of motion and a little bit arcadey and playful, and we had to find like the perfect balance between that, and that was just a matter of try and then tweak.
Okay. So, next question, I suppose, and that is that the music for Snake Pass is composed by the very famous David Wise, who is most famous, if anyone who's listening who doesn't know, for composing the soundtracks to the Donkey Kong games and several other beloved Rare games. I believe he even did Battletoads. Was it?
Yes,
I think he might have Battletoads, yeah. So what was it like working with David?
So brought him into the studio. He gushed over the game, really. Basically, this is the type of game that I would love to play, so I definitely want to go and make the kind of music, or make some music for the game. So he would go into his, I had a interview with him, asking about the processes of what he does. And he just kind of, he watches the game being played as he's working on it. He uses a lot of woodwind instruments, a lot of actual instruments, versus libraries in this particular one as well. And it was just really cool listening to how he would just feel out how the music should go as the particular themes were moving along, and they work very well in terms of the type of gameplay too. He wanted something relatively mellow, but not necessarily overpowering, because maybe how Seb has been mentioning how you control the snake. It does take a bit, but I guess the music itself is almost, I guess, transformative in a way, because while you're kind of struggling to do that kind of stuff, figuring out how to really think like a snake, I think the music kind of just calms you down, or just puts you in a mood where you're able to absorb as much as possible at the same time. So
I don't know about that. Have you guys seen the donkey video with Snake Pass in it?
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
It's great. I laughed so hard. I almost felt sick. He got a little bit frustrated.
Right.
Yeah.
In a funny way.
Imagine how quickly he would have got frustrated if we didn't have that glorious David Wise soundtrack.
Exactly.
Imagine.
Cool you off all the time.
Yeah, we actually met him at PAX.
Really?
As well. Yeah. He's a really cool dude, and I think that's more of the persona that he's I guess projecting when playing the game. But he really enjoyed it. Well, when watching him play, he definitely got it. So
Yeah, I mean that's his shtick, really, to play games and swear at them for our entertainment.
Very much so. But it's very, I guess, not admirable, but it's lovable.
Yes,
the way he does it.
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of David Wise, and super happy that he didn't manage to do the music for this, because both Dino and me, we come from a community background from LBP, and I remember when I was making LBP levels, I used to have a guy I always asked to write the music tracks for my levels, and I always said to him, make it sound more like David Wise, make it sound more like David Wise. So yeah, I've been always...
I was just listening to the Snake Pass menu music on YouTube maybe an hour ago, just because It's great. It's a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't have anything better to do.
No, I really don't.
Snake Pass is really clearly inspired by the golden age of Rare platformers, from the visual style to the music that we're just talking about. What were your favourite games? What your favourite platformers? Are there any direct influences in Snake Pass?
Well, it's very much inspired by the feeling of those games. So we looked at just Sonic, Mario 64. Very huge inspiration gameplay-wise for me is Donkey Kong Country, even though you don't see that back so much. But That's one of my personal favorites. Ori and the Blind Forest also sort of reignited that feeling of, I want to play a colorful, happy little game.
I've played Ori, that's not happy.
No,
Not at the beginning.
sad game.
Once you have all the abilities and you go through the level like a real ninja, it's amazing. It feels so good. What else? Spyro the Dragon, Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, it's just the golden 90 platformers, really. All of them.
So, some people from Rare actually listen to this podcast. So while they're listening, which game needs to have a sequel from their old IP?
Rare.
Emma,
Snake,
please.
Rattle, and Roll.
Snake, Rattle, and Roll.
Now, why didn't I realize that would have been your response as soon as I wrote that question?
Makes sense.
Rhys, you better slither on to the next question.
I had best... Oh, really? Snake puns? I almost let that slip past me. Anyway, so did you guys ever consider multiplayer? I think it would be absolutely hilarious game for a local party multiplayer, this snake physics.
Yeah, well, we definitely considered that, and we've tried it as well early on in the development. But the snake itself was so expensive to run that as soon as two snakes start interacting with each other, then the frame rate would just take a huge dip, and it was basically unrepairable for us.
Oh.
And in the meantime, we have made some improvements to the logic and the code to make stuff run more efficiently. So I don't know.
I think
maybe we could have done it, but
Snake Pass 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, it's definitely we have had some fun scenarios with two snakes in the office, but we weren't able to bring it up to the level that it needs to be to publish it. So we ended up cutting it, basically.
Right, so what animal-based simulator do you think that you could make next?
In general.
Just if you could make...
If you could make one
Pick
tomorrow.
an animal.
I personally would like to do a T-Rex, but he has to be a waiter.
Oh, wow.
That's very specific.
Yeah, very much.
Can you elaborate on that?
Excuse me?
Can you elaborate on that?
Just, his gangly arms and everything, holding a tray table, trying to deliver food, and then in between, different, tables, and he has to, maneuver his tail not to knock over the guests or anything like that. I just think that'd be really funny.
And maybe
Pterodactyl try to steal stuff off of the...
Yeah.
And maybe have physics on the plate that he's carrying, and you lose the game if you drop the food or you get... that could be a thing.
Why isn't this a game already? Sign me up.
Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
Next game jam in June, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I've said in the past, jokingly, a hummingbird simulator where you flap the wings with the right triggers, or with the shoulder buttons.
Oh, God.
Wow.
But no, that's obviously a bit extreme, but something like that where you control a really quick flying animal, maybe a bee pollinating flowers or something like that. That I've tried making something like that before, and that idea still sort of haunts me a bit, so...
Well, you guys released on the Switch, so you could have use the gyros to shake the thing.
Yeah.
Shake the flower.
Well, shake it to flap the wings.
Oh, yeah.
But that's getting literally flapping.
Yeah. Ross, no.
I said flapping.
Good. So I want to go all the way back to the beginning of the podcast because we're actually reaching the end of these questions that we've actually written down. I want to talk about Snake Pass, the location.
Yeah.
Where is Snake Pass, and how do I get there?
Cool. So it's actually in between Sheffield and Manchester. It's a road named the A57, but after a certain point in this part called the Peak District, which is lots of peaks and valleys, and it's a very pretty place, very green with rivers and whatnot. There's this particular windy stretch of the road called Snake Pass, and if you're driving down it, it's something that you would want in Forza Horizon, basically. It's that cool to drive on. But yeah, when we were trying to name Snake Pass in general, everybody came up with some random names. But because it was Sumo's first original game, and we wanted to be close to the heart. Somebody mentioned Snake Pass, and I was like, wait a second. That makes sense.
If not, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, the requirements for the title was it needs to have the word snake in it. And that was pretty much it. So we had a ton of names, and yeah, once someone mentioned Snake Pass, we were like, yeah, that's actually really cool. That shows how we are from Sheffield, at least for the people that know Snake Pass. And to others, it sounds like a quirky, weird indie game name, so let's go with that.
Yeah, that's actually a cool little story. That's great.
Yeah.
But, sorry, continue.
Okay, and then for like, when we started becoming a bit more popular on Twitter and everything like that, the actual Snake Pass Twitter that gives updates on the road conditions and everything.
It has a
what
Twitter?
Is Snake Pass thing trying to take over a hashtag? What the heck's going on?
That's great.
Yeah. They should be happy we're giving them looks.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
It's like a give and take, you know?
Mm-hmm. Promotion of Snake Pass.
Exactly.
One way or another.
So, guys, the next big game that your studio is working on is obviously Crackdown 3, and I need to ask, you know, straight up, can you play as a snake?
Ooh, that's something I don't know. Only if you believe hard enough. Sure.
Although seriously, I know you guys aren't involved, directly involved on the Crackdown 3 team, but I gotta say it's a bit exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking, right? To be given the flagship IP of the year.
Oh my god, that's crazy! I still remember when we were given the green light on it. It's like, what? What do you mean Crackdown 3? that's nuts. Yeah, I mean, again, that goes to show how much trust Microsoft has in Sumo Digital in order to give them that on top of working on the Forza Horizon stuff and everything too. But I guess the only other thing that I can really say about Crackdown 3 is that be excited. It's looking pretty good. So
I just hope you find a way to, because the game is obviously being advertised based on its whole physics thing. I really hope you find a way to incorporate accurate snake physics into the game.
That'd be sick. There's still time.
Snake physics everywhere.
Yeah. The future of gaming is here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the Scorpio releases this year, or whatever it's going to be called, and E3 is up soon. Is there any games that you're personally looking forward to seeing?
Ooh, man. I mean, it'd be nice to see actual games running on the Scorpio. I want to see like how beefy that thing is. Granted, we got all the numbers and everything from like Digital Foundry and stuff like that. You want to see stuff in motion. So
you haven't seen it already?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't.
I might.
But it'd be cool to see. I don't know, aside from Snake Pass running on that thing, I'd like to see where Forza can go.
Yeah.
On that thing. Forza itself looks really good to begin with, so to see where that can go would be really awesome.
It's the perfect way, isn't it, to show off your new console. It's just a driving game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I do get the feeling sometimes that Forza can almost not look any better, because I work in the same room with a couple of guys who are working on Forza, and I still get sometimes in the corner of my eye that I see the game and I swear it's real, and I look over and, oh no, it's the game. It looks so realistic already.
Still, E3, it's going to be exciting this year, I think, for you guys and for everybody. So, and there's still time for Snake Pass 2 announcement. Just saying.
Okay.
Right now, I'm sorry. The questions have been quite easy up to this moment, but there is one difficult question which we need to have confirmed for all of the Reddit users and listeners of this podcast. And that is, if you could knock out one classic video game character with one punch, who would it be?
With one punch?
Yeah, this is cutting edge
punch
journalism,
one.
boys. So
You've got to knock him out with that punch, him or her. Although,
Is it
Probably
for
not
any
the half.
particular reason, or just because?
Just because. Who could you take out with a single punch? If you want some context, Major Nelson said Frogger.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind for some reason is the boy from A Boy and His Blob. He seemed pretty weak.
Ooh, yes. you could take him?
Probably, yeah.
Like, imagine giving away all your jelly beans.
I'd
Dino?
probably say Bubsy from Bubsy 3D, just because of the frustration that I got playing that game when I rented it, and it's like, wow.
But only from Bubsy 3D.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take on 2D Bubsy, but only 3D Bubsy.
Well, I don't think 2D Bubsy deserves it. 3D.
Ah, okay. It's good to be clear.
Yes, exactly.
But thanks for putting up with our crappy questions, guys, and thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to have you here, and we hope we can have you guys back on at some point. Joking aside,
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
For Snake Pass 2 or whatever your future projects are, and we wish you tons of good luck with Crackdown 3. We are very excited to see more about that at E3 and or later or sooner or whatever. And thanks for coming on, guys.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Wow, that was a great interview.
You done it our own. You knew it was.
You're ruining the movie magic.
It's not a movie. It's a podcast.
This is why people hate you, Ross.
No one hates me. It's you they hate.
You're right. No, but that was a great interview. I really enjoyed speaking to those guys. They're a lot of fun. I hope they have a whole bunch of success with Snake Pass and of course Crackdown 3. Oh, can't wait. I only wish I could have asked them more stuff about Crackdown 3, but what can you do?
Yeah, they're not going to talk about a game.
No, I mean they can't. They're from the Snake Pass crew anyway, so it would be silly. But yeah, did anyone on the subreddit catch the AMA? If you didn't, the link you can find up top in the AMA archive. Have a look. The guy who did the AMA was a machine. He answered basically every single question, which is very unusual for an AMA. So go and check that out.
Right. So our last story, anyway, for this week is that user Insane Tomato 95 made a huge post about how Xbox One has literally changed his life as he met his bride-to-be over Xbox and playing Halo.
Aww.
Now, I don't know about these. I know, but it's stories like this. They give me a smile. I was on a train on the way to work when I read it. It's a nice story, and it's a testament to how good the community, the Xbox community is, and how much it can impact people's lives. It was a lovely read.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We really like these kinds of posts, because it really sort of cements us as a community. And, of course you could have the same post made about Xbox or about PlayStation or about Nintendo or, whatever, even about the Ouya. But it's always good to hear like one of these stories, especially because I know people who work on the team at Microsoft. And for example, whenever someone makes a post about how amazing their experience was with a tech issue, I always make sure and show them because, at the end of the day, Microsoft is a big company, but it's made up of people, and these people also really enjoy sort of seeing this stuff. And did I ever tell you guys the story about my sister's wedding?
Did you meet your sister in Halo?
No, I didn't meet my sister in Halo, but that would have been pretty awesome. But no, I'm far too old for that. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting off track. She married an Australian man in Australia, in 2013. And I am here in Finland, and it's very expensive to fly to Australia. I could not afford it, so I didn't attend the wedding in person. So of course, that made me a little bit upset, but hey, what can you do? Money is the thing. Hooray for capitalism. And I came up with this amazing idea with the help of my cousin who I play Xbox with. He's basically one of the only people I play online with any regularity. And he took his Xbox to the wedding and a television. And he tethered the Xbox to his phone, and I sat at home on my sofa using the Xbox's Skype function with the Kinect. And everyone at the wedding, like I was able to basically, attend the wedding via video. And everyone at the wedding came up and sat down in front of this picture of me in a TV box and spoke to me and left. And then someone else would come up and speak to me. And it was actually really amazing. And it's like the future is here, like when we were kids, in the 80s and early 90s, it's like, you saw that stuff on TV and science fiction films. And now that's actually how I actually experienced my sister's wedding. So it's pretty cool. And that would never have happened without the Xbox.
There's so many jokes I can make here, but because it's your sister, I can't. So I'm not going to. But no, that's amazing. You've never told me that story, and it's something I would never have thought about doing.
Yeah.
What would be really awkward though is like, oh, Rhys got me an Xbox, how nice, and just went to try and take your cousin's Xbox.
Well, see, this happened, like, smartphones were popular. We could have done it over Skype, or could have even brought a laptop there. But being able to sit on the sofa, and have the Kinect like zoom in, and I can just kick back and relax, and anyone else can go there and see everything. It was just really cool. It was so much better than squinting into a phone or whatever. It was amazing, and these sorts of things are part of what make us a community rather than just a bunch of people screaming about how they had sexual intercourse with your mother after a game of Halo 2.
Or your sister.
Or your sister, exactly.
But yeah. Anyway, after a story, I can't talk after stories like that.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Just you can take a moment if you need.
So is there anything else we need to mention about the subreddit?
Actually, yes, there is something that I would like to very quickly mention before we wrap things up this evening. If you haven't noticed yet, we moderators made a state of the subreddit sort of fireside chat thread, which is stuck at the top of the subreddit right now. This thread basically just tells you guys what we've been up to, what we're doing, how things are moving forward, and it lets you tell us if you think we're doing a crap job or not. You can, it's like a sounding board. Any problems you have with moderating, any ideas you have for the subreddit, any new features you'd like to see, any changes to the rules you'd like to see, we are reading every single post and responding to most of them as civilly as we can. So please, let your voice be heard. Speak now or forever hold your peace, kind of thing, to stick on the wedding topic.
Well, I'll be sure to make sure I give my thoughts on the
Now,
moderators.
Ross, you are forbidden from that thread, and so are you, Clayton, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, I can see that sticking to the top of the sub anyway. But look, thanks to the guys from Sumo Digital for joining us earlier on for that amazing interview. And thank you, Rhys, for telling me that story about you being a digital guest at your sister's wedding.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ross.
And for being on the pod, of
Yes.
course. But we'll be back next week, maybe even with a special guest or two. That isn't a hint. We've not got anyone arranged.
No one.
But for another week, Xbox turn off.
You're listening to Xbox One Party Chat Podcast, the official podcast of the Xbox One subreddit.
Let's do this.
I don't know how we're going to do this, but normally we ask our guests to do a sound bite, like, hi, I'm important person and you're listening to the Potty Chat podcast, but there's two of you. How should we do this?
Let Dino do it.
Me?
Dino?
Okay.
But you have to pretend you're a snake.
Okay. Alright. Let me just channel my inner Voldemort and see what's going on over there. Alright. Okay, so. Hi, this is... I just keep going. It's gonna be weird because I don't have any like S's in my name as well.
You don't have to be a snake. Don't worry.
I'll try, and then if I don't do it, we'll just keep going. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Only because I was asked to do this as a snake. So, hi. This it doesn't work. This is David Dino from Sumo Digital, designer and PR analyst over at oh god, I already messed up.